Hey everybody, Erica here. Today I want to talk to you guys about wake windows, specifically wake windows for 2 and 3-year-olds. This is such an important topic because it can eliminate a lot of issues just by paying attention to this. Wake windows have always been really huge for our son. When he was really little, if we weren't paying attention to his wake windows, he would get way overtired and then it was harder for him to sleep. And now as a toddler, we have to pay attention to it to make sure that we're not trying to put him down to bed too early or down for a nap too early, because then we start to see, some of that sleep avoidance again. We're like, what's going on? Oh wait, he's not tired anymore. And we've had to kind of adjust those. So I'm someone who likes things a little bit more concrete. I want to know how long should my child be awake at this age so that I can get his schedule right. And that's just what works for us. So if you're like me and you want to know, the ideal amount of time that your child should be awake before taking a nap and before going to bed, listen up, because that's what I'm going to talk about today. All right, so 2-year-olds. For a 2-year-old, the wake window is generally between 4 to 6 hours. There's a little bit more of a range. It depends on the child. Most 2-year-olds are still in need of a nap. There can be reasons why a 2-year-old will fight the nap. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're ready to drop it. Sometimes it's just purely behavioral. They can do it, so they're going to try to do it. And sometimes it is these wake windows that we're not getting quite right, and they're not tired or they've now become overtired. And if a kid is put down for a nap, for example, when they're not quite tired enough to fall asleep, even if they needed that nap, they might still, take 2 hours to fall asleep or not fall asleep at all, just because we put them down too early. So really paying attention to how long they've been awake is important, and keeping that consistent schedule for them is important. So the longer of those windows is the one from when they wake up in the morning until nap time. That's when their sleep drive is lower. They can stay awake for longer in the morning. So that 5 to 6 hour range is what that will be for. The shorter window is from the time of nap wake up until bedtime. That one should be around 4 to 5 hours. And because you don't want a kid going to bed for bedtime overtired, it's okay to be a little bit inconsistent with this bedtime here if naps are a little variable, and move bedtime earlier so that it falls within that 4 to 5 hour window, or where you notice that it needs to be, because putting a kid to bed overtired at nighttime is going to cause all kinds of issues like, more nightmares, potentially night terrors, things like that. Just more wake ups. They're not going to sleep as well. One thing I want to mention with 2-year-olds is pay attention, like I said, to that nap window, the amount of time that you're waiting before you put them down for a nap. And if they start having a lot of trouble falling asleep, especially if they're not necessarily even fighting the nap, they're just not falling asleep for a while, it might be a sign that you need to push it a little bit later. We were so structured with our son's naps. It was like 12:30 every day. He goes down for a nap. And then as he got a little more into the 2s, we started to notice that for him to fall asleep and fall asleep quickly, we had to push it a little closer to 1 for him. So just a small change, but just kind of paying attention to that. And then just a reminder that any daytime sleep should still be done at least 4 hours from bedtime. So if they do fall asleep later in the day, don't let them sleep as long as they possibly can. It's okay to wake them up so that they're still tired for bedtime, and we're keeping bedtime from getting pushed too late. All right, 3-year-olds. Not a huge difference, but 3-year-olds in general need a 5 to 6 hour wake window. Again, that longer window is from when they wake up in the morning until nap time, and that shorter window is from when they wake up from nap until bedtime. Now, 3 is a tricky age because this is a time when a lot of kids are starting to get ready to drop their nap or need less sleep with naps, and it can be a tough transition. So some things that I suggest are Try to keep the other parts of your daytime routine as similar as possible. Meal times, wake up times. You know, if they start to sleep in too late in the morning, starting to make up for that shorter nap or occasional skipped nap, then they're not going to be tired for a nap when it's time. So it's important, even though we want to take advantage of them sleeping in, if we want to keep the nap going, which is also a beautiful thing, then we want to make sure that they are getting up early in the morning, or when they usually would get up, so that they have enough time to be awake before nap time, so that their nap can be done early enough for bedtime. And I'm not going to go into dropping naps too much today. I did actually write a blog post on my website, www.positivepracticalparenting.com. So I would say read that, but I will say that all naps at this age should be done no later than 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're getting to that time, wake them up. If they fall asleep late, you know, close to this time, give them a very short nap and wake them up. If you're letting them sleep later, then you are going to get a kid who's staying up very late, probably sleeping in the morning, and you're never going to get naps to happen, even if they still need to happen. So be careful about that late afternoon sleep. Along with that routine staying the same, keep meal times similar if you can. Everything with this 3-year-olds that you can keep the same is going to encourage them to take that nap if they need to, and make this transition easier on you. You know, everything about the daytime is also helping their body know when it's time to sleep. So try not to have meals at weird times, you know, wake them up, have breakfast when they usually would, all of that, keep it the same. And so I also suggest, like, one easy tip about dropping the nap is even if you think they're starting to get ready to drop their nap, put them in their bed or their crib. For mine, it'll be crib. Put them in their bed anyway. Give them maybe some soft books or some soft toys, and give that option as something to do. But give them the chance to sleep too. And it's likely that if you put them in the place where they're used to sleeping and they need to sleep, then they will. Because you want to keep that going, and that quiet time is good for them anyway. You know, it is a lull in everybody's energy that time of day, and so it's good for them just to have some time to themselves, to have quiet. It's going to help with behavior the rest of the day, with that stimulation that builds up throughout the day. It's also great for parents, right, to have a little downtime. So just getting in that habit of, okay, if we're not napping, we're taking quiet time, is a great habit. But I suggest it in the bed at this age, just so that they are more likely to take that nap if they need to. And then at this age, at age 3, if they completely skip their nap that day, they never fall asleep, go ahead and, you know, I said keep the schedule the same, but go ahead and move bedtime a little earlier, half an hour earlier that day, just to help with that overtiredness. Because remember, we don't want kids to be overtired at night. It is, I'm not going to lie, that the dropping the nap stage is a tricky transition, and probably sleep isn't going to look perfect during it, but paying attention to these things will help make the transition as easy as it possibly can. All right, thank you guys for tuning in, and have a great weekend.